We love hip hop.
You have like the body movements figured out and stuff.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I just ended up doing the robot, and I was like, it was fun but exhausting, and I was rapping while I was doing it. Okay. So I would be like doing a song and then being like, when they gave me a rose, or like, but I had like really weird shit. Like there was a llama one, and I don't know why, but the llama's name is Lucy. Okay. So I would go, Lucy, I'm home, like Ricky, and then go back to my like weird robot that I was just like going like this, like trying to rap.
Let me make sure that camera angle's on you for the live. For the last name, Chatham?
Cheatham. Like Dewey Cheatham and Howe.
Okay.
Is the famous law firm.
Okay.
Dewey Cheatham and Howe.
Just to make sure I get that correctly.
I can't see your face.
Am I covered?
Yeah, Dewey Cheatham and Howe. You don't get the joke?
No.
Is that blocking this? It's in the shot.
We could bring it over here if you want.
Bring it back where it was. Okay. Maybe you're better at this than me. So the joke is, it's the law firm is called Dewey, Cheatham and Howe.
Okay.
DEWY, Cheatham. Thank you. Biff gets the joke. And Howe.
I'm having a blonde moment right now, I feel like.
But if you change it, it's do we cheat them and how, like we're cheating them. We're lawyers. We're cheating them.
Sorry, I'm late joke Rick over here.
This joke is from like the Three Stooges. It's like that old. It's a super old vaudeville joke. Yeah. So that's how that's how you pronounce my name, Cheatham, like Dewey Cheatham and Howe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to make sure I get the pronunciation right so that I can give you a proper intro here.
Copy that. What I'm saying? Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, I'm over here, and the name of the spot over here, where are we at?
We're at First Kiss Tattoo and Vintage in Toronto.
Okay. Big salute to First Kiss Vintage Tattoo and Vintage. Okay, we're over here downtown Toronto. It's a nice mix or contrast that's going on here, like a vintage clothing store in the front, tattoo shop over here in the back, right?
Yeah. It's my friend's spot, Rebecca Daniels. Shout out to Rebecca for letting us use it.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I'm in town. Let's, use whatever beautiful platform you guys have given me to get some people into her store, because she's so good at curating. The tattoo artists she has are incredible. Mm-hmm. And I want to see her do well. She's only been open for a year. So I thought, we'll do it here.
Hey, well, listen, I enjoy pulling up at different spots also and getting different settings for our viewing audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that our viewing audience, as well as our listening audience, gets to know this young lady over here. Okay. I'm getting familiar, but I have seen you online.
Uh-huh.
Right. And now from doing my research, I was like, oh, that's her. So for the people who were living under a rock, you might have seen her on TikTok going crazy to Jay-Z songs. Okay. You don't know what you're doing. Right. Or, you might know her for, dissing Eminem, possibly. Right. So with no further ado, we have Mandy Cheatham.
Yeah.
AKA Mandy Mayhem in the motherfucking building.
I got a legendary clitoris. You should see how long it gets. I got a legendary clitoris. You should see how long it gets.
And salute to her live audience over here.
What's up?
I feel honored to be on your live here. You got mad followers.
Yeah, I do. I do got mad. Some of them are actually mad also.
They're angry.
Will not lose. That was when that first video went viral. Mm-hmm, People kept sending me that over and over again. Eva! Because the way I yelled it, I know. I was very excited in that moment when that screen record happened, because I love that song.
Well, I want to go through the journey. Right. Before we do that, I got to pay some bills. Right.
Yeah.
Big salute to my sponsors, Diamond Club. They got delivery all over the GTA. They got the best flour, edibles, pens, all types of good stuff. Hit them up on their Instagram page, @DiamondClub_Canada, or you can find them on the Leafy Things website or the 7 Days of Weed website. Also, big up to Hot Steam or Steaming Hot Grabba. They got all different flavors of grabba to blend with, whatever you're smoking. Okay, hit them up on their Instagram page, Steaming Hot Grabba. Let them know that We Love Hip Hop Boys sent you, and they'll give you a discount. You see, just flip into my.
Get that bag.
You got to do what you got to do,
say.
right?
Yeah.
So let's get to know you, because I feel the people, they watch some of the stuff online, and from the outside, they get some people who might not know you more intimately and follow your journey, think maybe there's parody and there's and then there's reality going on there, right? But from my research, I'm realizing you're a real rapper, right? So you grew up here in Toronto.
Yeah.
Give me an idea, like what area of Toronto? Downtown?
Yeah, downtown. My family originally is from East York. I was born in East General.
Okay.
And then I went to the Island School.
Okay.
So I lived on a boat at the foot of York Street, York and Queens Quay, and took the ferry to school every day. So I'm a real downtown kid. And then high school, I moved up north and I lived in Midland and Orillia.
Okay.
And then I went to University of Guelph, and I didn't go into acting and music until my mid 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at one point, before the history, right?
Yeah.
Like the different socials that you have going on, right? What do you feel that, you do you do something different on TikTok than you do on Instagram? And explain that to us.
So when I go live on Instagram, it's only for a very short amount of time because of the copyright situation on Instagram with music. But when I go on TikTok, I can go for hours and hours, and I can do covers, mashups, freestyles, like written freestyles, or just like not everyone, but people who are following me know I've been practicing freestyling off the dome, which has been fun and also disastrous at times. So TikTok is where I started this whole thing in November of last year, going live. And that's a whole other, it's like having a seizure basically. And I'll be on there for a couple of hours and I'll just go and do, sometimes it's pre-planned, sometimes it's what I want, sometimes it's based on what the audience is requesting. And then after I do a live, I download the show from TikTok, and then I cut it up and I post it on Instagram.
Okay.
So what you're seeing on IG is coming from my TikTok lives. Right. It's just that it's, you don't see the comments and stuff, which is what the crazy, that's why it feels like you're having a seizure when you're on TikTok, because the comments are just like last night, there were 44,000 people that watched in an hour. Wow. And there was, for about half an hour of it, it was somewhere between 1,600 and 2,200, consistently. So the comments are just going the whole time. And it's insane. It's just so much energy and love, hate, the whole
So you're
humanity.
Reading, how much of those comments, or what percentage of those comments do you, are you able to absorb or even read? I
don't know. When the room's really big, it's and it will show me some and then skip through a bunch and then show me some. And I have moderators reading them as well. Right. They're trying to block things before I see them. Yeah, yeah. But they can pin comments. So oftentimes I'll just read what's pinned and I'll see who's sending me gifts. And then I'll they'll pin people who are gifting. It's I'm nicer to them, honestly, because you're helping support my show. So I'll watch for their comments and things, but you never know. It's so funny. I'll just look down and see something that I definitely didn't want to see. That happens a lot. And same with Instagram. When I go in, I'll just check the notifications and something will just be there. And I'm like, oh God, why did I open this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting back to starting in your late 30s, because,
mid 30s.
Mid 30s, right? And you're a woman, and if you don't mind me, or you've mentioned this on camera, you're born in the same year as me, actually, 75, right? Yeah. So you've gotten to see hip hop evolve from pretty much the beginning, right? So can you take me through that time when you got into hip hop? What was your entry point? What were you hearing?
Yeah, I probably need to look back to get the order correct. I mean, I definitely loved, Fresh Prince. But that wasn't the first, like, I remember hearing The Message.
Yeah.
And really liking that song. I didn't like the hibbity hibbity hip hop song. Yeah. Which is weird because we were kids, right?
Yeah,
I didn't like it. I was like, I don't know. But The Message I liked, which obviously makes sense now, knowing like the way I live, what I love most about hip hop, lyrics. But I think the turning point was probably 7th or 8th grade. And I was hanging out with kids in Market Square. So a bunch of kids, I went to the Island School, as I mentioned, a bunch of kids from Market Square went to my school and they were into hip hop. And so I was hanging out with them and they were listening to Too Short, NWA, and Public Enemy. And Public Enemy had just such a huge impact on me, which is crazy because now I'm making an album with Keith Shockley from the Bomb Squad.
Yes.
I mean, it's just insane.
That's full circle, basically.
Heroes. Yeah. Complete heroes. Like Fight the Power was such a massive song in 1989. And, I know it's 89 because it's like 1989, the number, another summer,
Word to the funky drummer.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. I mean, and then high school, I remember like 2 Live Crew. Like I was always into the nasty shit for sure. And Lil' Kim, and that was later, obviously. But Queen Latifah was huge for me in high school. I mean, Big Daddy Kane was a huge influence, and that was like, I think grade 9. Oh my God! And Big Daddy Kane like messaged me, "We're gonna meet." I mean, it's like it's crazy. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, because I went to a concert him and Rakim were doing in New York when I was there for the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and I couldn't get in. It was like a free concert, but I'd been at the wrong venue the whole time, and so I posted. I was like, I don't care. I was sitting out on the street and just like singing and like letting my childhood dreams come true. But I was like, I don't care. I'm locked out, but I'm close enough. And he responded because I tagged him, and he's like, no, we got to meet. So, I mean, it would be so cool to do something with him. Just kidding. I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Okay. So around your actually before that, you used to teach a cheerleading squad.
Yes. I did a lot of cheerleading stuff.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
I ran a cheerleading company for 10 years. I trained athletes all over the world. I trained like the Chinese national team. I was in Finland, Sweden, all over the UK, doing choreography, doing coaches training. I manufactured uniforms and sold them. I manufactured the uniforms in China, sold them to like US teams and Canadian teams. So that was my business for 10 years. And prior to that, I was a cheerleader in high school and university too. Yeah. So it was a big, big part of my life. And cheerleading and hip hop feel really similar to me. Like, there's a lot of crossover between sports and hip hop. It's like the crowd control, the symbol, the hand symbols, the like colors, So the crowd control skills that I developed in hip hop or in cheerleading work in my favor. As soon as I got on stage, it was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have the initial as much nerves, basically.
I still have diarrhea before I go on stage, but
at least you know what you got some muscle memory of what you're going to do, basically.
Yeah, I know I'm going to be okay. Like just shit it out.
Yeah. So after that cheerleading, like running the cheerleading company, you kind of hit rock bottom, right? Can you tell us about that time? It was a pivotal time, I think, that kind of got you into getting into the rapping.
Yeah, it got me into acting first. I think I was already doing hip hop karaoke at the time. I think I might have started that in 2007. And I literally like didn't think I was gonna ever have a rap career. But so at that time when the cheerleading stuff ended, my business fell apart. My dad died. I lost my house, all kinds of things. That's when I went into acting because I felt like I didn't have anything left to lose, like may as well do the thing that brings me joy.
Yeah.
And then I hit rock bottom again in 2012 or 13. It keeps happening. I had cervical cancer.
Damn.
And after I went through that experience, it's like when you first get told you have cancer. I remember I was on a first date, poor guy. I went to the bathroom and my doctor called. Wow. And they were like, you didn't call us to find out what the results were of the test, you know? And I was like, okay, cool. What are they? And she's like, you have cancer. I mean, she didn't really like say it. She tried to not say it. And I was like, what does this mean? What are you saying? And then she's like, no, it means it's cancer. So you need to come in, do an MRI, do a CT scan. I'm in the bathroom on a date. Yeah. And so I go back and I'm just like weeping. First of all, I tried to call all my friends and the only friend I could get on the phone was about to get on a plane to Thailand. And I'm like, I'm not telling her when she's getting on like a 14-hour flight or whatever. So I just came out to the guy and I was like, we have to go. I have cancer.
Wow.
And he's like laughing at me, right? Because I'd been cracking jokes. I was really on that day. Yeah. I cracking jokes through the whole date. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. And he's like, what? And he's like, didn't know, how to, he's like, okay, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. Just need to walk. So we walked to Queen's Park, actually, and sat on a bench. And I was like thinking about all the things that I thought was like, this is it. What are the things that I wanted to do that I haven't done? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get a dog. In that moment, I didn't get one because a lot of work. And like make music.
Yeah.
So as soon as I knew I was okay again, P.S. I said to him, you're not allowed to pity date me. You have to go away.
So he didn't get a second date?
No, he didn't get a second date. Man. He called me a couple of times to make sure I was okay, but I was like, leave me alone. But okay. I made an album right after that. As soon as I knew I was okay, I made my first album. And that was, whatever that was, 2013 or something.
So, and that's a crazy story.
Yeah.
Wow. Like,
yeah.
Making that, right? You already were rapping. So did you start putting songs that you already had and putting together an album, or did you just start going into the studio from scratch?
I went from scratch. I went out to Nova Scotia and worked with, a producer that I knew. I fundraised. I did a GoFundMe to get myself out there and pay him. And every morning I got up, I did my vocal exercises. He made a beat in the morning and I just wrote all day listening to the beat. And then we laid it down. He would only let me do 3 takes of every verse. So the songs that I do in my show, in my live show now, there's one called Where My Bitch Is At and one called Crave. And I made videos for both of them. They're not on Spotify or anything because he and I got into a disagreement and he didn't want me to release them. So I didn't. But I made videos for them and that I wrote those that week. So I still think they're lyrically pretty strong. And then the second album was for my show, Mutha, that came out in 2016.
Yeah, that's a show that got picked up by HBO Max eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's put that on the Pinterest board for a second.
Okay. Oh, Pinterest.
Okay. And we'll come back to that because I want to keep a whole segment just talking about that in itself because that's a big accomplishment as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I want to talk about maybe a book that gave you some insight, some influence. The Artist by Julia Camden.
Yeah, The Artist's Way.
The Artist's Way.
The Artist's Way. Julia Cameron. She wrote this course, I guess. It's a 12-step program, essentially, like, AA or NA or something like that, but for blocked artists. So it's, it was amazing. So the first time that's how I realized I was an actor, when I did that course the first time. It was actually within the first week of doing it, because in the mornings you write 3 pages of stream of consciousness to help unblock you. And I actually still do it. I've been doing it for, I guess, 13 years or something at this point. And I do it when I'm in the studio to get the muck out, to just write gobbledygook or whatever's bothering me. Or, when I was just with Keith, the first round when we were writing, I wrote out what's really in my way, making admissions that might not be true in the grand story of this process, but are true in that moment. Like he was making beats and I was like, I was feeling, especially because it was the week of hip hop's anniversary. I'm with this man who's a legend around all of this Public Enemy paraphernalia and all his platinum records and everything. And I'm like, the beat, the drum, the kick, like I don't feel worthy of this. Or not worthy so much, but like I feel like an outsider. I didn't feel like I should be there or something. I was feeling like an imposter. So I used my pages to write that out and be like, okay, well, it's there. You can't pretend that it's not there, but I also can't let it stop me.
Right. I
think that's like a common theme with everything, you know, the comments, the whatever. It's like, yeah, they're there, but they're not going to stop me because my relationship with myself, I'm the one that I can't betray. And if I sit here in this environment with this incredible artist, with this opportunity, I can't, with this like sound that means so much to me, just the like, you know, boom bap. And I don't show the fuck up, then what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I know I can trust about myself, and I got to keep showing up that way for everything. So like when I started going live, I'm acting like I'm in a stadium, because like how you do anything is how you do everything. So I just show up like, okay. And that's why everyone's like, what is this woman doing in her living room performing? Like
you go hard. I
go hard because I'm a cheerleader. Like the music, you know, waits for no one. I don't know. It's just, that relationship with myself has taken me a really long time to build. I'm not going to sacrifice it for anything. Even if I get it wrong out in the world and I make mistakes in my art or things I say or whatever, I'm sure I will. But like ultimately my relationship with my own art is all I have to hold on to.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned that you still have like some self-doubt, I guess, in some ways now, because you've been doing this for a while now. But back when you were first starting, can you tell us about some of the you know, maybe some of the people that were trying to tell you, come on, Mandy, like rapping, are you serious? Like, I'm sure you dealt with that a lot at some point, right?
You know what? It wasn't actually like rapping, are you serious? I was the only one talking myself out of it as a career. No one ever tries to talk me out of things as a career. Except sometimes acting, but it's more like, are you making money? Like friends that say that all the time.
Yeah.
But I did have a couple of friends that I admire, creative comrades. One is a woman of color and the other one is a white woman and her son is black. And this was back, you know, around 2015. And the one said to me directly, I think you need to take a break from the rapping stuff. And because of the appropriation argument. And the other one posted something on Facebook saying, I don't think that white people should be rapping. I think it's only black people should be rapping. And I was like shocked in both situations, but I listened because I was like, well, maybe I don't know something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. Let me find out. Let me listen. And then, you know, all the things happened, the political stuff. And I thought, oh man, I don't want to make this worse. I'm just going to stop. So I did. Wow.
So what made you restart? Because that's heavy.
Yeah, man. A retirement home commercial audition. Like I'm an actor and I got an audition for a retirement home commercial and I was just like, I'm not ready to retire. And this is what Hollywood wants me to be now. Like,
wait a minute. Woman in her 40s and they're trying to cast you to do retirement home stuff?
Yeah.
Disrespect.
Yeah, I mean, I got so many auditions for women in their 60s and 70s. And I'm just like, why don't you let them play those roles? Hold
Hello.
I would go in, like I got one to play Mrs. Claus. And I went in and the guy's like, I think you're a bit young for this role. And I'm like, no shit.
Duh.
But then also I'll get cast in something and my husbands are in their 60s. Like I played twins in a sleep apnea commercial that people are always like, is that you? Are you the sleep apnea lady? And I have 2 husbands and they're both in their mid 60s.
That really says something about the ageism in Hollywood right there.
Yeah. It's
big time.
I mean, yeah. So there was that and projects that I was trying to get them. Like, it's like nothing was working and I just didn't understand. Like, I felt like I was following my impulses and being aligned with whatever my purpose is here. But, you know, sometimes the thing that is your purpose is the thing that scares you the most. And literally, like, I remember when Nicki Minaj came out, on Monster was the first time I heard her. I didn't hear her in the mixtapes or anything, but it was on Monster. And I was like, thank God I don't have to rap now. Like, that was my first thought. It was so interesting. Cause like, I was like, she's amazing. She's doing all the things that I thought of or have done in my work. I mean, we're very different, obviously, but like just lyrically, the cadence, like I was like, woman, you know, cause Lauryn Hill had been around for a while. So I was like, cool. Now I don't have to do this, you know, but then it just still didn't go away. Yeah. So I was broke and this agency was being like, TikTok wants to support your lives. They're not going to pay you to go live, but they're going to support your live streams. And I thought, well, you know, people are busting their asses to try and build a following on Instagram and TikTok and whatever. And they're offering to help. Again, it was another one of those, like, I have nothing left to lose. Like my cheerleading project that I had spent 4 years trying to sell. It's a TV show that I wrote. Wasn't going anywhere. And now I'm just getting these auditions, like for, you know, no hemorrhoid cream, but like, I'm sure I'm on the way. And I just thought, man, I trained so hard. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said a prayer actually to God that day, like, just show me a clear path. And this agency I had auditioned for them for another platform to rap. So they knew I could rap. And they're like, we think your rapping will do really well on TikTok. Will you just try it? Yeah. And so the first night I did it, I stomped around all day, just like, I don't want to do this. But I did it that night and 20,000 people watched. Nice. And I made $11. And I was like, well, that's more than I make for an audition. So why not? I don't know. I'll just try what they say. I'll go this many times a month. They had a recommended amount of time that you should go live. And so I just like, I'll try it and I'll try it for a month. And I did. And then I went viral like a month to the day pretty much. And that viral moment, was it the Jay-Z You Don't Know? Okay. I want to Pinterest board that one. Yeah. And let's pull off the Pinterest board Mother. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mother is a TV series about a middle-aged woman who lives in the suburb, who wants to become a rapper. Right? Tell me how that came together and like just the brainchild of it and everything. So hip hop karaoke was a big thing for me. It was a big outlet for many years. And they had these competitions that I won 3 years in a row until they forced me into retirement. And Fat Lip from the Far Side came to Toronto to DJ one of the events. Dope. Yeah. So I met him there and we went up for dinner and like hung out and became friends. And he told his record label about me, Delicious Vinyl. And they brought me there to do a show with the Far Side at the Roxy. Wow. And it was like their 20th anniversary. Yeah. So I opened for them, but it was insane. It was like, there was a bunch of acts in front of them and I was the MC of the evening. And I was performing covers in between. And so just as what happens on, the comments, people were either like, this is the best shit I've ever seen, or this needs to stop immediately. Yeah. And the record label folks and the folks that were even some of the band members on the Far Side, that iteration of the Far Side, because there's been many, were very split and arguing throughout the entire show about whether or not I should be on the stage, to the point where they were taking the mic from me. They would take it away. Fat Lip would get it, give it back to me. The DJ refused to play with me. Fat Lip came on it was like a shit show. And I was like, wow, this reminds me a lot of cheerleading, where people were very, very passionate about it or very angry. But there was no middle ground when it came to cheerleaders. I was like, there's something here. And I had already been acting. I'd been writing shorts, studying comedy, learning how to write scripts and all of that. And I realized that there was a show there. And so I messaged a friend of mine who was working for one of the production companies out here. And I was like, I think I have an idea for a show. It's like a housewife, a suburban housewife becomes a rapper when she rages or something like that.
Formation.
It ended up being she fantasizes about being a rapper, like over many iterations. And I had originally written it as a half-hour show, and it ended up getting sold as a short-form comedy series. But that was essentially it. It was that moment of being with those guys and being like, oh, there's something here. So it was really fun. It was amazing to make. And I thought, like, it got me my visa to go down and live in LA and all of that, but it didn't do what I thought it was going to do for my career. Like I wasn't able, I have had this experience throughout my career that it doesn't seem to matter how strong my material is or how good I am at something. It's like, they just don't want to add me into the club or something, well, I don't know what the reason. There's several. They all intersect.
And club meaning, are you talking about just the entertainment industry period, or are you talking about hip hop specifically?
Music. I just don't fit. I think it's I don't know if they don't want to add me. I think they just haven't known where to put me ever. It's like when I was younger, I was this redhead chick rapping, which is not so abnormal now, but it was then.
Yeah.
And rapping about my vagina, it just was not normal. It was not normal. Like other artists had done it, but not like a white chick.
Not so overtly neither.
Yeah.
Dare I say, your lyrics are explicit, even though hip hop has explicit lyrics.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why that you're very overt with the sexuality and everything in your lyricism as well, right? It's like a statement being made.
Yeah. I mean, I always have been. I think about it after the fact. I don't think about it before. I hear music, and this is the creation chakra. This is where if the beat is hitting me there and it makes me feel sexy, then the lyrics are going to come out in that way.
Yeah.
Or, if I've had, I like sex, I have it, I don't know. And so it's part of my art. It's a big creative force in my life. It always has been. And also I have a lot of trauma. I had a child at 17, had lots of traumatic experiences that were awful, sexually and with my body and all of that. And so there's a part of me that feels like I never had a voice. My body never had a voice. My vagina certainly never had a voice. So now she's speaking, and she has been, since I started rapping, but she's going to fucking talk until she's done. And I can't tell her to stop. I follow my impulses and let the chips fall where they may. And I do rap about other things.
Yeah.
They just don't happen to go viral as frequently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of viral, right?
Yeah.
Removing another topic off the Pinterest board.
Yeah.
You went viral with remaking or freestyling over the Jay-Z You Don't Know.
Streets where the bullets are following me, bullets are swallowing me. There's so much coke that you can run a slalom.
Oh, I wasn't freestyling. I was a cover. It was a cover, straight up. Yeah. Yeah.
So what made you, besides being a fan of Jay-Z's music,
yeah.
What made you decide, let me cover this?
Well, because I started out at hip hop karaoke. So I did it in London, New York, Brooklyn Bowl, BB King's. There's a place called The Social in London. And then here at the Revival is where, and the Boat is where it started in Kensington, which is no longer. But so I have like a catalog of hip hop covers that I have learned quite well, because at hip hop karaoke, there's no words. You just have to know the song.
Okay. So you don't get to see anything on the screen.
No. I mean, now I'm sure there are things that do that, but back then it was like, you have to know. They'll give you a piece of paper with lyrics on it, but you can't read hip hop lyrics if you don't know them. Like there's too many words. Although I can now, I have developed that skill, but back then, no. So I would like ask them for songs that I loved, and I love that song. Like that's such a good song. I remember when The Blueprint came out, and like I would play that song over and over again, and just like walk around my living room, walk like a ball player, in my living room. My son was like little, and you just like, yeah, I love that song. Just Blaze's beats too. Like I know he gets annoyed that I keep doing shit on his beats because he's messaged me, but
what?
Yeah.
Whoa, you got so. Was it after he heard you covered the You Don't Know?
Yeah, like he posted something like, I have a headache, or I woke up to like 30 plus texts of this video and I'm going back to bed, I think was something like that. And then I reposted it, I think. And then I did another cover of Rock the Mic because I was going to do a show in Philly. So I did a freestyle, and it's like insane. Like
the freeway Rock the Mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's his beat, right?
Yeah.
So I did that, and I don't know if he posted it or something, but then I was like, I'm sorry. I keep doing it, like freestyling on your beats, but stop making such good beats. And I'm like, I'm sorry if it makes you sad. And he said, it's not sad, just awkward. But keep doing your thing, he said. So I don't know.
Listen, you got on the radar of one of the biggest producers in the world.
I know. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. I mean, the people that have shared or commented, or it's like amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And besides Jay-Z, I don't know if you got on the radar of any of the Shady team.
I don't know. I don't know.
Now, let's unpack this right here.
Okay.
Because it explains a lot, especially even with some of your lyrical content, because I feel that you have a crusade against misogyny. Right? And you were watching the Eminem Shady freestyle. You loved it. But then one of your friends put you on about the misogyny that's going on. Can you tell us about that reflection and what helped, what started happening moving forward?
Big salute to the sponsors, Diamond Club, with delivery all over the GTA and now all across Canada. They got the best selection of flour, edibles, and pens, and all types of goodies that you need. You can find them on their Instagram page, DiamondClub_Canada, or you can find them on the 7 Days of Weed app, as well as the Leafy Things app. Let them know that you heard about them through the We Love Hip Hop Network, and they may give you a discount. Big salute to Diamond Club. Cheer!
Yeah. It was the Shady XB Cypher. It was like the anniversary of Shady Records, and it was so dope. I love the way it was shot. It was so good. I was inspired by it. And I posted it. I posted his freestyle, and I was like, he's just so good. And my friend responded and said, yeah, but misogynist much. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice. That's how like internalized it is. And that was the verse where he's like, the stench of estrogen, he says. And I'll punch Lana Del Rey twice in the face, like Ray Rice, and celebrate in the elevator, something like this, referring to him hitting a woman's head off the elevator, like so violent. And I was like, come on, man, can we talk about something else? Can we grow, and he has since, like, there's, he's a human being. We make art in the moment where we are. And my response, it took me like 3 or 4 months to write it. And I think I was more mad at myself actually than him, because I don't know him. You know, and usually when I have that kind of response to another artist, it's because I love them. You know, he's been so inspirational to me as a lyricist. So like when I realized, you know, it's like the thing with Public Enemy and the Professor Griff, when all that went down, I was so heartbroken. And I didn't really, I now have more context about it because Keith and I have talked about it, but like.
One second, because not everybody in our audience is so fluid in hip hop, right? So just keep that thought for a second. There was a quick second while Professor Griff, he had did some interviews where he had said some really anti-Semitic things, and he had gotten a lot of backlash for it. He gotten canceled, then he came back, and then just for the people who need some context.
Yeah,
keep going.
And even at the time, I didn't know that it was anti-Semitic. I just remember hearing, "Oh, he doesn't like white people," and it was like Public Enemy doesn't like white people, and I was like, "What?" Like this, you know?
Yeah.
And then I remember hearing the same thing about the Fugees at one point, and like I didn't understand. I'm just like a kid in Canada. Like I don't know shit at that point. There's a lot that I don't know. Being Canadian, I will never understand what it's like to be a Black person in America. I have a better idea now that I've been living there, but I will never understand. You know, but I want to learn. I want to keep learning so that you can't have hip hop without Black America, the Black American experience, period.
Yeah,
so I just, you know, and like, you know, I don't think every artist that raps needs to know the entire history of hip hop. I just happen to have felt this like curiosity about people, and this art form has always spoken to me because I love the puzzle of putting words together, like the math of it, you know, and comedy and music and all of it together. So I just like, I've tried many times to stop doing this and I can't. So it was like, that was the thing with him too. I was like, you were in the freestyle that I wrote. It's like, you know, the caretaker, I call now, here we are at the after hours, me, Rabbit, and Rap, and I'm calling you out, the caretaker who failed to pay attention to the authentic preservation of rap's dignity. You know, at some point, you are responsible to the thing. And I know he doesn't necessarily, I don't know if he feels that way. I don't know him. I just know what I know of his lyrics, and I'm not that, don't know his whole catalog. But at that particular moment, that's how I was feeling. Like, come on. You know, it was like Nikki too. Like, I want you to say all the things for me but ultimately it's not his responsibility. It's not hers. It was that there was a fire in me. And that's actually the next line. Now you lit a fire in me that no cockamamie rap speak from a cock and ball mouthpiece will ever quite relieve. I've waited, but no reprieve, blah, blah, blah. So like, I was mad at myself for just not like doing the thing that I'm clearly supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Talking myself out of it for years, and to the point where I just like kind of exploded.
Well, it kind of put things into perspective.
Yeah.
And I guess Eminem was the catalyst, because you mentioned, you know, during our conversation here, even some of the influences, Too Short, 2 Live Crew, all these guys, like "I'll Me So Horny" was like was their biggest song, right?
Yeah.
"Life Is Too Short." Too Short was rapping about his pimping escapades and stuff like that, right?
Big Daddy Kane. Anything goes when it comes to hoes because pimping ain't easy,
right? So it's like we've almost been ingrained in our mind to be misogynistic through our hip hop culture, right? So I feel like maybe that with Eminem, that was just like the breaking point for you to start responding back in your own raps.
Yeah. I just felt like, when am I going to have a voice here for something that means so much to me? You know, that's the thing. It's like, sucks when you love the thing so much and you are discluded from it. And I'm not special in that regard. Like, Black people have been discluded from like most everything for hundreds of years in America.
Yeah.
So like, it's that, and that's why I didn't rap, because I was like, why do I get to have my way and they don't? You know, it's not fair. But like what I see now is something different. There's a conversation that needs to happen. And like, I'm a catalyst for it. It's not about me, but it needs to happen.
Yeah.
And it's about all the things. It's about appropriation. It's about reparations. It's about equality, dignity, education, like so many things. And I'm not here to like save anybody, but I think that the most powerful thing that you can do as an artist is like answer the call, whatever it might be, and then let other people be inspired. There's a man that came down to meet me today here, and he's in his late 50s, and he's a spoken word artist, but he's like, you know, received negative feedback and shut down, like didn't, you know, and that he shared a poem with me that was beautiful about his experience of George Floyd's murder. And I'm like, man, you know, your voice is so specific to you and your experience, and it's really beautiful, and I'm enriched by it, and like other people would be too. But there's this whole other thing that goes with speaking your truth, that it ignites people, it triggers people. It's, you know, so that's my defense mechanism, or my way through it, is to understand that it's not about me. It's a thing. It's a conversation that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And my job actually is to keep fucking poking the bear sometimes. Like, you don't want to see an older woman be sexual. I don't care.
Well, there you got it.
I don't care, because I'm not gonna not live my life. I'm not gonna do it. I almost died like twice, you know, fuck that. Bankrupt, lost everything. Like, I don't know what else are you gonna do, and before I finally just do the thing I'm supposed to do. I don't want to find out how much worse it will get. It's like I was like pushed into it almost by the universe, just like, well, we can keep getting worse, or you can just do the thing, you know.
Well, listen, I feel like it's kind of coming all together now. No?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you got fans that are tapping in, whether they're tapping in from the TikTok videos or from your raps. Like, you are building up a fan base, right? And essentially, you know, as a hip hop platform over here in Toronto, we interview Toronto rappers.
Yeah.
You're a Toronto rapper.
I know.
Right?
Yay.
Yeah. But you're a Toronto rapper who's seen a lot more than the average Toronto rapper out here. Like, you're going across the border, you're doing a lot of big things, right? Are you tapped into some of the stuff that's going on out here? Do you know anything about the scene out here over the Toronto rap scene?
No, I don't know. I'm sure all of this is in my head, but I definitely, like, I feel like the Toronto rap scene has known about me the whole time, but never taken me seriously. So I was just never included. Like, there's no way I would get on a bill with anybody, or like, you know. And for a long time, that was the thing. It's like, well, who's she going to perform with? Like, what, you know, now there's more artists that I can perform with. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't really know what's going on. I've lived in LA for 10 years. So, and before that, I was in New York. I've been back and forth, of course, but yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, there's a whole bubbling underground scene out here that, you know, there's guys that are getting gold plaques and platinum plaques, right? Salute to Pressa, Smiley, he has a song with Drake, right? Drake, what's your views on Drake as a Toronto rapper?
You know what's funny? The funniest thing of all of this is that, like, I can't actually just make jokes or say shit anymore about people, because like they hear it. That's the weirdest part of all of this.
Oh, he watches this.
Does he? Yeah. Yeah, like, I think what I've always liked about him is how funny he is. Like, I think he's hilarious. I wish that he was still as funny as he was at the beginning, but I think, like, you know, I can understand how things get kind of shitty when you get famous, and what people expect of you and what that's like. I've had a small taste of it. But like, would I want to, you know, have my next move be with him, like with Canada? Of course. Like, yeah, that's of course. I just have such low expectations of like what, you know, of like where this is going to go in terms of who's going to get it. Like, I don't I don't want to spend my life convincing people anymore. Either you see it and you get it and you're like, fuck yeah, or cool. Like you don't have to like me, but I don't want to convince anybody. So yeah, I mean, I call him a whiny boy sometimes, but I only partially mean it.
No, salute to the boy. He's been putting Canada on the map for a long time. So
yeah, of course. What's the? I mean, I know like some of his entire albums by heart. I'm definitely a fan. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he's in my top 5. He gets like tossed in and out here and there. But yeah, like, would I like to sit down and talk to him about his relationship with women? Yes, I would. And I know that people say he's a person that he made it okay to like be a simp or whatever, but I don't know. I still think that he kind of didn't. Like there are things that I would like to talk to him about in terms of the way he treats women or talks about them. Mm. And so if that's why I call him a whiny boy, it's for that reason, because I want to provoke him into having that conversation. But you know what else I like about him? I was just thinking the other day, he did that track with this guy. What's the UK guy's name?
Central C.
Yeah. It's so good. And I feel like I can identify with the way his style switches when he's working with different artists. Like I'm like that too. I feed off of the other artists, and I love changing my style up. And I think maybe because of how I came up with hip hop karaoke, learning all these different rappers' flows, that that resonates for me. I don't want to have a flow that everyone's like, oh, it sounds like the way you rhyme, because that's boring to me. And that's part of what my flow is that it's just like constantly switching. But like somebody was giving me a note on one of my freestyles this morning that I read, and it was like, you have to rhyme like this. It's like this sentence and then the next one, and then this one rhymes with the first one and the second one. And I'm like, okay, thanks.
I'm gonna come to your job and tell you how to flip a burger. Just chill.
I know. Also, I'm like, I don't take notes unless you're paying me.
That too. Mm-hmm. Well,
but to be clear, I really, it's like Drake and Eminem, it's similar. I love them so much, and I have such deep respect for what they've done. Drake is so clever. He's so clever, and that's the humor part. Yeah. And also, we're both actors, and like, I get it. And I want him to go deeper in the female department. And that's like requires personal work. Yeah. It's not, and your art is who, it's an extension of who you are. And that's one of the reasons why I love him, is because he's been honest, even for all his flaws. Yeah. So let's have a therapy session, but the same with Eminem. Let's talk about women.
Yeah, it's definitely been, we've come a long way in hip hop, and women or men talking about women in misogynistic ways has been a thing prevalent in hip hop for a long time. Yeah. But what are your views on, like, right now hip hop is being dominated by women? Mm-hmm. Okay. Ice Spice, different artists, Sexy Red, different people are really taking that top spot. Yeah. But my booty hole pink, my booty hole brown is like the level of lyricism that we're getting these days. Yeah. Are you down with that? Yes. Talk to me.
Well, like I said about my own vagina, she hasn't had a voice for a long time. And, when you first start talking, sometimes it sounds kind of young, right? So it's a very new voice. So it's gonna need to express itself in whatever way it needs to. Yeah. And like the hypersexualization is in response to a hyper masculine environment. So we need the balance in order to find the middle. So this has to happen in order to shine a light on men. Like 50 years of misogyny, and you're going to be pissed off after 1 year of women like actually f*** off.
Good point.
We need a little bit more time to sort out what the f*** has just happened to us over the last 50 years. Yeah. So keep talking about your booty hole. I want to know about the chunks of shit in your booty hole, actually. Let's go. So that's cool. And also, like, when a filmmaker creates their first film, generally it's about their earliest experiences, their earliest, coming of age, whatever. Women in hip hop, women in music, I don't want to speak for Black women in America, but from what I've experienced of America and, the access that people have to information and education, and just the amount of women that are getting raped and sexualized and what have you, my guess is there's just a lot of trauma being expressed. And that if that's the way it's coming out and it's helping women to heal, please give me more. And I want it to continue as long, and stop slut shaming them, because it's this new conversation about women. It's too much.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Like, you've actually helped me to start changing my view on it, because I'm looking at it from a lyrical standpoint where I'm like, come on, this is not top level lyricism, but at the same time, it does need to grow.
Yeah. Well, there's, that conversation in terms of, there is a conversation about balance, about what is pushed out, right? The audience is making choices, however, because that's happening more than ever before. I know what of my material goes viral and what doesn't. But there are powers that be that are determining what is getting money put behind it. And those powers are old white men. So you can't really blame, again, don't shame the women, for they're just doing what they do. And this is getting elevated.
Getting the bigger push. Yeah.
Also elevate Rhapsody. Also elevate these other performers, that are not necessarily doing that. And we have balance. Yeah. But they're like, that doesn't sell. Well, I don't know. Have you put the same amount of money behind it? Have you tried?
Yeah.
She did win a Grammy. Like, that didn't come from nowhere. So there's a lot at play, but you don't get to blame the artist. No, sorry.
And also, give me a pound there. Salute for mentioning Rhapsody.
Yeah.
One of my favorite rappers. Not favorite women or female rappers. Favorite rappers, period.
Yeah.
She is
dope.
Crazy with it.
So good.
I got one of my questions that I ask most of my guests, right? But I feel like I need to ask you, as a woman who's experienced different things in life, right? What's one thing that Mandy Mayhem now would tell, let's pick an age, a 19-year-old Mandy Mayhem before the mayhem?
So 19, I was still in high school, because I had my son at 17. So I was still trying to get through high school. I graduated when I was 20. God, I was just so wound up. Like, everything had to be perfect. I was really afraid of getting it wrong. The house is not clean, or the kid, especially my poor child. Like, I just I didn't want anyone to think that he was the child of a teen mother. So I was hyper vigilant with, like, him being polite and smart, and I wanted him to keep up with, because I didn't want the shame I felt to be on him.
Right.
And then I was like, honor roll, valedictorian. Like, I was a maniac. Captain of the cheerleaders on the students council, and I lived on my own. I'd been out of my house since I was 15. I was just like crazy, trying to prove to the world that I hadn't done something wrong. And now what I find my superpower is allowing myself to make mistakes in my work, in my lives, and the process of making art is about making mistakes. If you do not take risks, you do not make art. And your mistake is someone else's inspiration that then becomes their piece of art. So I wish that I had tapped into that sooner, or had more support around me around like, it's okay to make mistakes, because I thought mistakes was like having a baby, like that's the mistake. But it's like also just like, chill out, like take a risk and get it wrong. It's okay.
Yeah.
I wish I knew that.
No, that's some jewelry right there. Listen, Mandy, I feel like we got to learn a lot about you here in this conversation. Right. I think this is something that your audience and the audience that watches our platform could take with them, and then get some more insight when they're listening to the music.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, and I really appreciate you having this conversation with me here today.
Thank you.
What do you have coming down the pipeline?
Okay, so November 1st, I'm releasing my first single called Legendary Clitoris.
Okay.
I think it might just be called Legendary, but the song is Legendary Clitoris. And then I'm doing a show, which will probably happen before this airs, but it's on September 21st in Times Square. And hopefully, I'm hoping that I release that single, and then there's another single that's going to follow, and then the EP with Keith, which might become an album. We're not sure yet. And then I hope I get on the circuit and start touring. That's what I would really, really like to do, is like get out and meet people IRL, and just get me on stage.
Yeah.
I love it. It's my favorite place to be. I like, bring it on.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing everything that you got coming up. And I really, really enjoyed having this conversation with you here today.
Thank you, Kofi.
Yeah. Well, you can call me Friday for,
sorry.
But it's okay.
Thank
It's
you,
okay. They already know my gubby over here. I don't be hiding nothing. One thing I got to do before we wrap our conversation, I got to salute the sponsors once again.
Yeah.
Right. Big salute to the sponsors, Diamond Club. They got delivery all over the GTA and across Canada. Hit them up on their Instagram page, Diamond Club _Canada. And big up to Steamin' Hot Grabber. They got all the grabber that you need in different forms and, shakers and different things like that.
What's grabber?
Oh, you don't know what grabber is?
No.
It's like a tobacco leaf that we mix with our blunts or with our weed. Right?
Okay.
Right. So I don't know if you ever seen frontal leaf. It's like a brown leaf. But we go check out the website Steamin' Hot Grabber.
Okay.
Or their Instagram page. You'll be able to see all the different types of selections that they have.
Oh, cool.
Right. But hit them up, Steamin' Hot Grabber with no G on the end of Steamin' on Instagram. And yeah, man, I once again, much respect to Mandy Mayhem. Make sure to go check out all her music. Instagram, anywhere where you want people to find you.
Yeah, IG is Manda Merhead. TikTok is Ms. Mandy May Cheatham. It's super annoying. Sorry, it's so long. But if you just search Mandy Mayhem, you can find me. I'm on YouTube too, trying to build that channel up. I got a Patreon. Patreon is where I release the behind the scenes stuff. So I'm going to be putting out a rough cut of my video on Patreon next week. And, just special thank you to the people that really keep things going for me. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Another one in the vault. Thank you to Mandy Mayhem for this this conversation here. Thank you to what's the name of this place again?
First Kiss Tattoo and Vintage.
Yeah, I'm looking at the sign behind me, but I wanted to make sure. Okay. Big salute to First Kiss Tattoo and Vintage for letting us have this conversation here. We are off of this. Deuces.
Peace.
We love hip hop.